Welcome to the Mind Body Mountain, the podcast where we explore the intersections of mind, body, and emotional growth. Today, we're looking into a relationship we all have but often wish we didn't, the one with our inner critic. For many of us, our inner critic feels like a nagging presence. Some dread it, others depend on it. Either way, it's often an extreme and exhausting dynamic. But what if I told you there's another way? Today, I'll walk you through a way to better understand your inner critic's true intentions and offer a path to gently moving it to the back seat of your life. Right now, I'm guessing your inner critic spends a lot of time in the driver's seat, but we're going to work on getting you back in control. If this sounds useful, and after you've had a good listen, try the corresponding inner critic guided meditation in the IFS playlist. In it, I'll guide you through the process step by step, offering support and direction to help you along the way. Types of inner critic. Let's start by talking about the different types of inner critic. As I go through them, you might recognize some you experience yourself. As a side note, you might also begin to notice your family, friends, or colleagues' inner critics. Becoming aware of someone else's inner critic can help us dial down the intensity of our reaction to their behavior. It allows us to understand that everyone has their own inner critic, which wasn't something they chose, it developed over time out of necessity. Recognizing this can bring more compassion and patience to our interactions. Now, let's get back to our own inner critic and look at some common examples, each with their unique strategies. I'll also give a sample of the type of self-talk they might do. Remember, self-talk is one of the S's from the BESSY acronym. I'd recommend listening to the episode, How Meditation Helps with IFS, for a rundown of the powerful BESSY acronym and how it can help you to recognize a part the moment it walks into the room. It's literally a cheat sheet in living a better life. Here we go. 1. The perfectionist. Self-talk. That's not good enough. You need to work harder and do it perfectly. Purpose. Tries to protect you from failure or criticism by pushing you to achieve flawless results. It often leads to burnout or fear of starting something new. 2. The taskmaster. Self-talk. You're lazy. You should be doing more right now. Purpose. Drives you to be productive and accomplish more, fearing you'll fall behind or be seen as unworthy if you slow down. 3. The inner judge. Self-talk. You always mess up. Why can't you get it together? Purpose. Criticizes your actions or choices, aiming to keep you in line by highlighting your perceived flaws. Often mimics external voices from authority figures. The guilt tripper. Self-talk. How could you do that? You've let everyone down. Purpose. Keeps you tethered to responsibilities and obligations by reminding you of past mistakes or making you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. 5. The pusher. Self-talk. You have to keep going. You're not allowed to rest. Purpose. Seeks to protect you from feelings of inadequacy or irrelevance by ensuring constant activity and achievement. 6. The underminer. Self-talk. You're not ready for this. You'll just fail if you try. Purpose. Tries to prevent you from taking risks, fearing rejection, embarrassment, or failure. 7. The controller. Self-talk. Don't trust anyone. You need to stay in control. Purpose. Protects you from vulnerability by keeping you overly cautious and guarded in relationships or situations. 8. The inner rebel. Self-talk. You don't need to listen to anyone, just do what you want. Purpose. Pushes back against feelings of being controlled or restricted, sometimes in a self-sabotaging way. 9. The comparison critic. Self-talk. Look at how much better they're doing. Why can't you be like that? Purpose. Aims to motivate by comparing you to others but often leaves you feeling inadequate or envious. The 10th protector. Self-talk. Don't let them see who you really are. They'll judge you. Purpose. Tries to shield you from emotional pain, criticism or rejection, by encouraging you to hide your true self. Understanding the inner critic's role. The first step is to locate your inner critic. You can do this by asking it, "Where do you live in my body?" Notice how it responds. Where does it pop up? Is it in your head? Is it in your chest? A knot in your stomach? Once you have located it, you can now notice how you feel towards it. Is there resistance, frustration, fear, or perhaps curiosity? If your feelings are not one of the 8 C's such as curiosity, compassion, or calm, then we say that these feelings are coming from other parts of you. Gently ask these parts to step back, just for a moment, so you can give your full attention to the inner critic. We're not giving the critic more power here, just more understanding. Continue this process if there are a number of parts participating. And when you've created some space, ask yourself once again, how do you feel toward the inner critic? If curiosity has now emerged, you know that you are leaning into your true self. So next, ask your inner critic a few key questions. Why do you act this way? What are you afraid would happen if you didn't do this? Wait for the answers to come from the part itself. Don't overthink it, and don't make it up, even if you have to sit for a while waiting. The answer may come as a word, an image, or flashback to a moment in the past. It will tell you when it is ready. Often the critic is trying to protect you from something such as getting hurt, failing, or being exposed as inadequate. You may be surprised to realize that its intentions are often rooted in safety and love. At this point, you may also start to recognize the critic's deeper motivations. It might be protecting a younger part of you, one shaped by past experiences, like trying to meet your parents' expectations or avoid their criticism. Sometimes the critic even adopts their voice and says to you the same phrases that your parents said. If you think about it, did your father often use shame to get you to listen more closely to him? Anybody can stay in bed all day. Why don't you get up and do something useful? What will the neighbors think if they see you behaving like this? You're too old to cry over something like this. You'll never amount to anything if you keep acting this way. Did your mother use fear to frighten you into listening to her? If you don't behave, the police are going to come over and have a talk with you. If you don't do well in school, you'll end up with no future. If you keep being bad, you won't go to heaven. If you keep acting like that, no one will want to be your friend. This realization can help you shift how you see your critic. It's not a bully. It's a protector doing its best with strategies that it learnt from someone else. When you reach the point of understanding what your inner critic is truly trying to achieve, and recognize that, while its methods may be outdated, it has been working hard to protect you, you can then take a moment to acknowledge its efforts. You would say something like, "I appreciate all the effort you've put in to shield me from harm or failure. I understand now that you've been doing this out of care." Before we continue, remember that your parents may have spoken to you this way because someone responsible for them once raised them in the same manner. It's also very possible that this is how their own inner critic talks to them every day, shaping the reality they live in, impacting their nervous system in a stressful and maladaptive way, and influencing how they parent you. Transforming the relationship. When you show the inner critic some appreciation, it often softens. This may be the first time it's ever felt truly been seen for its efforts. My advice would be to continue to get to know your inner critic. It is crucial for progress. Every time a part of it is understood, you will find that it relaxes and takes more and more of a back seat in your life. This allows your true self to stay in the driving seat for longer periods of time. I'd recommend listening to the 8 crucial questions to ask a part video linked in the description below as a means to guide you to connecting deeply. If you feel that you need more guidance on unblending from your inner critic so that your true self can better engage with your part, have a listen to the episode entitled Unblending from a Protector. Unblending is the process of separating the self from a part, such as the inner critic. When unblending, a person becomes aware that they are not their thoughts or emotions, but rather the observer of them. Unblending is a crucial step because it enables individuals to step into their true self, where they can communicate with their inner parts from a place of calm, confidence, and clarity, rather than being overwhelmed or controlled by them. It is a place where understanding and healing can happen. What lies beneath? Exiles. When you have made some progress with your inner critic, you can begin working to uncover and heal the part of you it's been protecting. Perhaps a young, vulnerable part that is carrying painful emotions like shame, fear, or humiliation. To do this, you'd ask the inner critic for permission to connect with this part. These parts are called exiles, and once you reach them, you can get to know them and help them release the burdens they've been carrying, which in turn reduces the pressure on the critic. For more insights on working with exiled parts, check out the Mind Body Mountain for the episode, What are Exiles in Internal Family Systems? I'll provide links in the description to all of the suggestions that I've made today so you can find them more easily. They are all sitting in the IFS playlist, which is a great place to look through. Can I do this alone? This process can be done alone, though some people may benefit from the guidance of a therapist or a knowledgeable supporter in the beginning. However, guided meditations, like the ones I offer here on the Mind Body Mountain, can be a supportive tool to help navigate this alone and shepherd you into leading with curiosity and focus. With practice, this process becomes second nature. You'll find that connecting with your true self doesn't just transform your inner world, it changes how you interact with others, especially those who might resemble your inner critic. A parallel process. The way you relate to your inner critic can mirror how you relate to critical people in your life. Whether it's a parent, a boss, or a partner, curiosity and compassion can replace anger or fear. For example, if a parent is critical, you might ask, "What's behind your words? Is there something you're concerned about?" Or, "Is there something you're afraid might happen if I don't listen to this?" Or, "What do you think I'm not understanding right now that you need me to hear?" Use your own words so they're not quite as stilted as the ones I'm giving you, and so that they come from a place of calm, curious respect. This shift can be life-changing, allowing you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting on autopilot. It won't be easy, and the parent will likely first respond in a way that you wish they didn't, possibly using one of their own protector parts such as anger. But isn't it better to approach your parent as your true self and see where that takes you? You will also find that your nervous system thanks you dearly for this new style. Next, I invite you to try part 2 of this Inner Critic podcast, which is the guided meditation. It's the practical part to this theory session. It will be interesting to understand which techniques your inner critic uses to keep you safe and what it is really protecting you from. You know what? We've discussed some intense and life-changing topics today, and I sincerely hope that it has been useful to you. I'd love to know what you think if you feel ready to tell me in the comments. Just before I go, please can I ask a favor? Every time you interact with one of the Mind Body Mountain videos, it sends a signal to YouTube that people are liking them, which means YouTube share them with others, which means more healing all around. Please pick your preference and subscribe, share, like, save or comment. I would be incredibly grateful if you do. In the meantime, and until I see you next, take care of yourself and your inner family.